So, I've covered Derek Domino in the past. I haven't been derogatory or condescending. He makes some good points. But you know my frustration about him and so many others? Is they never talk about the occultists. In this instance, I'm prepared to die for my flag. Come and take it. So according to Derek, the solution to fucking fighting back against this is to put up as many of your country's flags as possible. Now, can you imagine the effort involved in that as opposed to opening books? You know, doing a wee bit research and going, what the fucking hell is the councils, well, by and large, consisting of? What's their beliefs? What's their thoughts? Does a thing like, for example, Freemasonry play a part in it? Theosophy, humanism, Eastern Star, various other things. You'll never hear it out of these guys. You'll never hear it out of these guys. And if you're asking me when I see Derek Domino at the moment, well, he's a frustrated guy that obviously isn't that clued up, passionate, eloquent to an extent. You couldn't disagree with it. And he's prepared to die based on the frustrations of what he's seeing. But not looking into, well, as I said, the occult, for fuck's sake. So basically what he's saying is to put up as many fucking flags of your country as possible, as opposed to, well, maybe we should be looking at what's in the councils. Well, what is the makeup of the people in these councils and in Parliament? Whatever that may be. You see, for some guys, slightly older, whatever else, well, apparently because they're not supplementing and, giving a good grasp of nutrition, well, life isn't quite the joy it used to be, A spring in one step, all the rest of it, blah, blah, blah. But he'll still be seen as a fucking hero. I'm not slagging him off. I just find people like that frustrating. Because you could solve it in a conversation with them. A few pints, whatever else. Derek, are you aware of, the following? And I look at Grip Media. Of all the logos they pick, it's a G. Yeah. Oh my God, it's just like, what was it Albert Pike said? When you need heroes, we'll provide them. Where's that effect, Anyway, under fair use, let me play some of this. Gardaí Commissioner won't rule out Gardaí taking down tricolours. What I found interesting in this thing was the inference that, well, if the council tells us to do this, we're not even talking about courts now. If the council tells us to do this. As I said, various people covered it a decade or so ago about organisations like Common Purpose. My counter to that one was, well, that in no small way is the bigger picture. While I know it exists and it's very much involved in the fire service, the police service, all the rest of it, and it is a type of neurolinguistic programming, why are they not looking at fucking Freemasonry? It's like when the cops, for fuck's sake, their very logo is the compass and square and the fucking checkered floor and you name it. But no. Anyway. So, under fair use, Garda Commissioner.
This morning in the media we read that there are certain members of Dublin City Council who say they want to engage with Garda Síochána about the phenomenon of Irish tricolours appearing on telephone poles and things like that around the city. Can you guarantee that taking down Irish tricolours is not something that Garda Síochána is going to be using police resources on?
Yeah, so look, I obviously read all the media reports myself in the last few days. And as you correctly say, Dublin City Council.
Now, here's another thing, and you'll notice it with some of them. Quite lean, quite healthy for their age, all the rest of it. But people don't get that there is a behind the scenes a spiritual belief system. Yeah? So they are disconnected, detached from the reality of what you experience.
So I've looked to meet us. So the Assistant Commissioner for Dublin, Paul Cleary, and some of his team will be meeting the council. I think it's in a couple of weeks. So obviously we'll have to wait and see what the request is from Dublin City Council. So I think until I hear back from Paul and his team about what we're asked to do. But look, I mean, the bottom line, not just with this issue, but with everything. I mean, we enforce the criminal law. So if there's criminal offences, that's our job to do. It would seem for me, on the face of it, would seem to me that's a matter for Dublin City Council. But like I say, I don't want to preempt that. I mean, they've looked to me on Garda Síochána.
Think about this. Yeah, again, he repeats. It's down to the council. Think about this. It's no longer about the courts. It's now down to the councils, which ties into Agenda 21, limited sovereignty, and that the councils and city-states and all the rest of it, you know, any illusion that you had of any kind of common law, any of that is out the fucking window. Absolutely out the window.
So we'll see what comes out of that meeting. So maybe the next time I meet you, I mean, we might have more information.
But depending on what they request, like, could you guarantee that there will not be members of Garda Síochána going around taking down Irish tricolours around the city from poles, and that's not something that Garda Síochána would dedicate police resources to?
Look. I mean, I think to be fair, I mean, this is only an issue that's really broken on my radar actually since yesterday. So look, I'll have to wait and see how the meeting goes and see what comes back from that.
So there's a possibility that.
No, I'm not saying that at all. And look,
which goes back to spirituality. So many of them in the councils and the police forces and the legal profession, you name it, they're very much about minimalist spirituality, you know, veganism, blah blah blah. And a transformational change. Most people don't get this. I've said for years, you really need to read a book called Marilyn Ferguson, The Aquarian Conspiracy, Personal and Social Transformation in the 1980s. It's now been rebranded as In the Modern Era. You know? But most people don't fucking read these books. So they don't know what they're fucking dealing with. Yeah? I mean, it's like, most of these people are quite softly spoken, but what they're doing is, well, far fucking from it. I mean, we are being destroyed from the inside, and everybody's looking at the fucking, oh, look at these bastards, look at these immigrants. No, they're just a byproduct of these occultists hell-bent on destroying and carving and absolutely destruction of everything we've held dear for thousands of years. You could go in more detail. Look at all the fucking sci-fi. I keep seeing this. In order for transformational change from people to becoming, whatever species it is, to becoming more enlightened, they go from physical to ethereal. They go from flesh to something on the ether that fucking, you know, lasts forever, amen. But then you have to add to that, you know, that Luciferian aspect, you know, like heaven and hell. Remember, you keep hearing this about an eternity in hell. And these people are offering you immortality, but not in the flesh. Remember, it's all about everything to do with sci-fi is you live forever once you transcend your physical being. Yeah? Yeah, again, I'm making no sense to most people, but I look at this fucking stuff and it's like a road crash of willful fucking ignorance. Anyway, your thoughts, and I'll speak to you soon.